Hey, this is Doug with Workforce Gaming. This Pax East 2024 interview is part of a larger series where I spoke with developers, producers, level designers, motion capture artists, and programmers about the games they're presenting. Today's interview is with the students of Cornell University who are showing off some of their first games at PAX. We discussed the process of making games, how building a board game can help you find the fun in your game, and what it's like to show off your game to the public for the first time. I'm excited to present to you our interview with the game design students and hobbyists from Cornell University. Okay, this is Doug with Workforce Gaming. I'm here with Jacob, who is part of the Development and Games Association at Cornell. I see you guys are showing off a few games today. I love the key art for your games. That was the thing that kind of drew me to it immediately. I see someone get a thumbs up. I'm actually the person who maybe drew it. So if you could first talk a little bit, what is the Development and Games Association at Cornell first, then we can talk a little bit about the game itself.
Yeah, so it's an undergraduate student club where we basically cultivate a community of people who are interested in game design, and also people who especially want to get into the game industry and make games together.
Gotcha.
This is the club to be at. And yeah, so recently we're trying to find new ways to get people together and make games. So we created a small internal team in the club, which is what you see right now. Is Tilly's Critter Command is our first game we made with this team. It's a group of 16 to 18 people, and under the professor, a game design professor, Walker White at Cornell, helped us develop this game throughout the academic year.
And these students aren't necessarily part of the game development curriculum. They're not taking classes necessarily in game development to join this club. You could just join this club as if you're in engineering or something like that.
Yeah, it's open to anyone.
Yeah.
It is application based, but it's not necessarily engineers only. There is a game design minor at Cornell.
Sure.
But as long as you have a lot of passion and you have the sort of dedication that we're looking for, we put you in the team, and we got the training and to get to the point that we are for our game. Yeah.
Nice, perfect. So can you tell me a little bit about Tilly's Critter Command? So I guess what was the inception idea, and what kind of made people glom onto it? It's okay, somebody had this idea. Yeah, let's go with this one. Can you tell me that story?
Yeah. So at the beginning of our fall semester, we did a lot of ideation and just kind of going around the group, sharing our ideas. And honestly, the most intact idea was from one of our group members, Ellery.
Yeah.
He kind of showed off just some art from the game, and I think it really we kind of pivoted. I think the original game was like a puzzle game.
Yeah.
But we just love the art.
It's really good key art.
We have a snail, turtle, porcupine cat.
Yeah.
Snurtle. Yeah. We just love the art.
Sure. Yeah.
And honestly, a lot of games are kind of driven by the artist too. I think that's really underrepresented. Is definitely the art design goes a lot into how the game kind of evolves. So.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I mean that's fair, because I know it sounds like sometimes games can start as I had this cool mechanical idea, or it's hey, I had this cool.
Yeah.
It seems like this one start more I had a cool universe I kind of want to talk about for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess what's kind of the main gameplay loop? Where did it start and where is it now?
Yeah. So the main gameplay loop is that you control our character Tilly. Tilly's from our world transported into another.
Yep.
And basically she uses this emotion gun.
Okay.
That, she uses all these emotions, love, anger, and kind of throws those emotions onto these animals.
Yeah.
They're kind of animals of animals we're used to, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And basically kind of in Pikmin type gameplay, it's gather them and as an army to defeat the evil bug robots.
Nice.
So yeah, it's sort of tower defense, but also strategy.
Oh, cool.
Mixed in. Yeah.
Nice. And when do you guys plan? And you guys, I know we were talking maybe potentially this will turn into a more fully realized released game. Is that correct?
Yeah, and honestly, we did most of the book development in our fall semester, and now coming to spring is all this play testing. So
yeah,
we're almost there. We're trying to figure out the bugs and adding more levels.
Gotcha.
But yeah, we're planning on releasing it onto Steam in our own club's itch.io late May. So.
And I got a quick question. So this is probably the first time you've ever shown your game to the public.
Yeah.
Is this the first time you've had a game, anything you've ever done, get shown to the public, in this sort of atmosphere?
Yeah. This is the first time our club ever had a booth at Pax East.
So how does that feel? Like, so I imagine like 10 people maybe have tried this thing, and now you got like 100 people running through your booth, and you're next to the Mountain Dew booth, you're next to whoever else. How's that feeling?
I'm just really, really proud that like we had this vision of like really expanding our club beyond like university, like, you know, eyes. Cause like seeing this amount of touch and honestly the amount of support that we're getting for our games and our passion, it's like, I'm really, really happy to see that.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Definitely paying off.
Oh, I'm glad. Sometimes I feel like when you put yourself out there can be like a lot of stress with it, but it sounds like you guys are rolling with it. Actually, this sounds great and fun.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's great. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, I'm here with Caroline, who is actually taking a few of the game design courses at Cornell. Two courses, and you're actually showing off one of your games yourself, and I believe that's Bubblegum Bandit.
Yeah,
is that correct?
So I worked on Bubblegum Bandit back when I was a freshman with a team of 8, me included.
Yeah.
And I was a programmer and artist, and we had a pretty big like diversity of experience of making games. So I made games throughout high school, and some of my teammates had done similar things, but then some of them had never even didn't know conventions of gaming. So it was really cool to like
get that kind of eclectic group sort of thing.
Yeah.
So if you've been doing games for a while, is Bubblegum Bandit kind of like the games that you've made in the past? Is that kind of like, were you doing sort of action platformers back then, or is this your first time in this genre?
Yeah. So honestly, I think action platformers are the easiest games to like start making when you're first learning. So I have really bad follow through in my projects, but I basically use them as learning experiences. The way I see it, if you go into a project, you have a thing that you want to learn how to do, and then you do that, like, you've succeeded at least somewhat.
Yeah.
And a lot of those projects for me were platformers. Yeah.
And so Bubblegum Bandit, this game is fully released. It's on what systems is it on?
This is on Steam.
It is on Steam.
Yes,
so that's very cool.
98% positive reviews.
Really?
And then one hater.
One hater. Well, that's a lot of reviews. It got 98% and one hater.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good.
I think it's like maybe only like 20 reviews.
Yeah, and his name is Jeff. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know what his name is.
No, I'm just kidding. Kidding. But no, so like, where'd the idea for Bubblegum Bandit come from?
So in the game design course, we have like many weeks of like iterative design. And we were thinking that we all really enjoyed playing games where you could move around really fast that were really responsive.
Yes.
So we wanted to make a physics-based game.
Okay.
And we were thinking of interesting ways to implement physics into a game, so we wanted to do a game where you messed around with gravity.
Yeah.
And we thought of different ways that you could manipulate gravity, and we found that just straight up and down would have like, it would be open-ended enough to be able to have players come up with creative solutions for puzzles in the game.
Sure. Yeah.
But it's also like narrow enough that we can actually make the environment like at least a little bit challenging to interact with.
So it's not like, so you don't give the player like total loosey-goosey control. You're like, no, we actually need to create some sort of structure in here. Yeah. That's neat. So are you working on any games now currently, or are you just here to show off Bubblegum?
Yeah. I'm not working on any current games now. I'm taking actually a pretty tough course load. But I'm hoping next year I'm going to take the advanced class with the other sophomores or juniors then.
Yeah. And
that'll be really fun. I started in the program a bit early.
Okay.
So people my age are now taking the intro class.
Sure.
So hopefully like I'll be like with my peers by then. So that'll be fun.
Awesome. That sounds great. Thank you for taking your time.
Yeah.
So real quick, we were just talking that actually all of these games are prototyped in a sort of a board game format, it sounds like, as part of the course. Is that correct?
Yeah, so the ones that are associated with the courses at Cornell, which is not all of our games, we're required to do non-digital prototypes, which is where we do them as board games so that we can like think about how the mechanic would actually pan out with early playtesting before we actually build a whole game.
So how does that work for a game? So I can understand that for like a card game, a turn-based RPG maybe, but how does that work for an action platformer? What's your tabletop game look like?
Well, so for our game, because all the jumps are sort of manifested as like you switch gravity and then you switch back when you're in midair.
Sure.
We just limited it to the point where you couldn't do both of those switches in one turn. So it was like a board game where you move certain paces at a time.
Yeah.
And then you could decide when to switch gravity and you just fall to the ceiling.
Oh, fun.
And then you can use 2 turns to turn that into a jump.
And was that helpful, like when you were just getting the okay, you're nodding really vigorous. You can't see her; she's nodding vigorously.
Well, because we got a lot of really good feedback on what was fun. This game was originally going to be a stealth game.
Okay,
we
sure.
Completely gave up on that after the prototype.
It actually came out of the tabletop prototype that was not the part that you should focus on?
Yeah.
Very interesting. All right, cool. Thanks. I'm here with Victoria, who's another student at Cornell. She's the lead designer on Munchkey, which is a very fun name.
Yes.
So, okay, so I was talking with some of your cohorts, and they were saying that like these start out as sort of like tabletop prototypes, and then they move on to a full game. So I guess tell me a little bit about the inception of Munchkey, because I think everybody wants to, when you're in a game design course, everybody has their idea for a game.
Yeah.
How did Munchkey kind of like rise to the top, I guess?
So our group, basically, we had a completely different idea to start out with.
Sure.
And we prototyped it with like the physical tabletop prototype, and everyone didn't like it. It was really convoluted, really hard to play. So we were like, okay, we have to scrap it completely.
Sure.
And then I actually don't even know how Munchkey kind of came to conception. We were just kind of like, well, everyone loves a little critter,
sure.
like a little creature.
That's fair.
Everyone loves flashy animations and graphics.
That is true.
And everyone loves sword fighting, so we just combined it all into just one game, I guess, and that's how Munchkey was born.
Sure.
So the premise is basically you are a chef, you're a Munchkey himself,
okay,
and you are serving delicious fruit skewers to island resort goers.
Okay.
So everyone here is, in the tropics, having fun, and you're just serving up fruit skewers to them.
Okay.
So the fruit was all stationary at first, but the lore is that he knocked over magic powder on top of his fruit, and they all came alive.
Okay.
So then they run around on the islands. So you
Gotcha.
go after them and skewer them. With
like you're stabbing a bunch of cute fruit. Oh, that's
So the premise is to make the combinations of fruits that you see. So you get orders, right, of different combinations.
Oh, and you're running around stabbing the fruit.
Yes, in the order that they come
okay.
in. So then, and you have like special moves. You get like stuns, you get dashes and things like that. It's a very like RPG-esque.
Were there any discussions of how violent to make that game? Because I feel like you could go real. Okay.
There were. But
so where did you settle? I guess I'm trying to get a good look over here.
It's very comic cartoon violence,
sure.
right? So no blood, none of that.
Yeah.
A lot of kids really enjoyed our game when we presented
oh,
it. So
okay, great.
We had a
okay.
showcase, right, at the end of the year, and a lot of kids came and played.
Yeah.
But because they're very cute, no graphic.
But you could have gone that way if you wanted to.
We could have, but Munchkey is not about that. Munchkey is peaceful as he could be.
As peaceful as you can about stabbing sentient fruit.
Yes.
Okay, awesome.
Yes.
All right, and this game has been released. It's out on Steam.
It is not out on Steam. We're considering it.
Okay.
But,
where can people find your game?
On Itch.io, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that, but I'm like 80% sure it's on Itch.io.
All right, we're looking at cards. We're looking at the
QR. We have a quarter card, and we have like a lot of our information on it as well. Pretty sure it's Itch. Yeah. Yes.
All right.
It is Itch.
It is on Itch.
It is. So please just look up Munchkey.
Yes.
And then you'll be able to find our game.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so
much.
much.
All right, thank you. Thank you to all three of you guys for interviewing. I really appreciate it.